Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ijoma. As you can see, I'm all smiles. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Sincerely IJ. You know the vibes. Subscribe to this channel if you are not already subscribed to it, and like this video, share with your friends. Yes, like before you even know what we are coming to talk about. Just share with your friends. Like this video, this channel is all about positive vibes, and you know the vibes. So please, let's keep pushing it. Let's keep going. Thank you so much if you are a returning subscriber. God bless you. If this is your first time here, my name is Ijoma and this is Sincerely IJ. Over here I talk about movies, I talk about books, I rant, I talk about faith-based stuff, and I'm just happy doing what I love to do. I'm just having fun basically. So if you want to have fun, come along and join this family. Okay, so cheers to that. This movie review I'm about to get into is the first movie review of 2023 here on Sincerely IJ. That makes me so happy because we have come a long way. We have really come a long way. Now, even though I'm not big yet, I get people like sometimes ask me, oh IJ, I think you should watch this movie. Like they tell me, IJ, I think you should watch this movie, I think you should review this movie, blah blah blah, and that makes me feel so good. So I'm talking too much and I'm digressing. So before we get into all that, let me just introduce the movie we are about to talk about today. Today we will be talking about a new one that just came out on Netflix last week, titled The Wait. The Wait is about people who are basically waiting on God for something. Now it could be waiting on God for a child, waiting on God for a job, waiting on God for a husband, waiting on God for so many things. You know what you're waiting on God for. But in this particular movie, it was just people waiting on God for children, different families waiting on God for their children. And in the case of a boy, he was waiting on God for a job. I don't want to make this review very long. I just want to go straight into it and say this movie is a 10 over 10. I love this movie. I could relate to every part of the movie. Now, you don't need to be waiting on God for a child before you can actually relate to this movie. I've had dark moments in my life, and if you've been following my YouTube channel, you know that I've always been saying it. Actually, there were times where I've been depressed, I've been going through shit, like I questioned God a lot. This movie just sort of reminded me of where I used to be and made me grateful. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The Wait is a very good movie if you are looking for something to boost your faith, if you are looking for something to take you out of your funk. You know, sometimes you'll be waiting on God for something that you totally forget, and you totally forget the purpose of your wait. You just keep focusing on the negatives, like, oh, it's not coming, the hurt, it's painful, it's this and that, without realizing that in every waiting season there is a purpose. You get to ask yourself certain questions after watching this movie, that what is my purpose? This waiting period I am in right now, let's say I'm looking for a job right now and I'm not getting a job. Why is God making me wait? You need to ask God. You need to understand the mind of God. That being said, you can't understand God fully, but there are certain things that you need to ask God. It's okay to ask God questions without questioning who He is. Before I became a truly born-again Christian, I used to think that it was an abomination to ask God questions. Like when you hear people say, God, why? Somebody will say, why are you asking God why? Don't ask God why. There's nothing wrong with asking God why. You just need to know the kind of relationship you have with God, and it's totally okay to ask God questions. You can ask God questions without questioning His character, who He is. So this movie sort of gingered my faith. It made me, like I said, reminded me of where I used to be 2 years ago, last year even, and God brought me out of it. Because when you go through that waiting period, you realize that it is so worth it. You understand if you're in that waiting period, but you realize that it is so worth it. The waiting period you are going through, there is a purpose, there's a reason why. So like I said before, this movie is about different families waiting on God for their own children. So we have some have been pregnant before, some have lost their children in the process of giving birth. Now the movie opens up with a scene in the hospital where somebody was trying to give birth to her child, and the woman finished pushing the child came out looking healthy, bouncy, laughing and everything, only for the doctor to go and tell her family members that, oh, your wife just gave birth to a girl, she comes back and the child was dead. Do you understand? In that split second that the child came out, that split second that the doctor went to tell, the wife's people out there. So you can understand how painful this is. So sometimes you ask God that, why would you give me this if you know you are going to take it right back? It is God does not enjoy us going through pain. No, it is just to build our character. This movie confirmed certain things I've read in the Bible for myself, that when you're going through certain things in life, certain things that are so like you cannot understand, when you ask God for something and the answer does not come immediately, instead of seeing it like God has neglected us and all that, why don't we see it as an opportunity where God is molding our character, molding who we are? Now, if you always pray to God that, oh God, I want to be a patient person, I want to be able to overcome any temptations that come my way. How else is God going to help you grow that seed of patience if he does not take you through certain things? Do you understand? So yes, that's what the wait basically is about. That the fact that you're waiting on God for something does not mean that it's not going to happen. If it does not happen, it was not God's will for your life. We need to get to that understanding. And trust me, you don't want your will for your life. You don't want your own will for your life. You want God's will for your life, because he knows from the beginning to the end. He knows what harm this could do to you. So even though it looks like, oh my God, everything looks good. God, I'm supposed to get this. We proposed. We are supposed to do this, that. At the end of the day, if it's not God's will for your life, it will not happen. This movie is a 10 over 10. It talked about real life situations. I mean, there are people who are waiting on God for children. Some people have had 5 miscarriages, 7 miscarriages, 10 miscarriages, and they are still going. They keep going. And we always forget in this part of our world that conceiving, having your own child through birth, like pushing out a baby, is not the only way you can have a child. There are other ways through which you can have a child. You can go for adoption. It doesn't have to be your own biological child. But then we have narrowed down, I want to be a mother to just your own child. There are so many homeless street kids out there. What if God says, this is your ministry, this is what I'm grooming you for you not to have your own child? Because there's so many helpless children out there. What's the point of bringing children to this world if there are so many 1,001 children? Now, I'm not saying that if you are waiting on God for a child, this may be your story. It's just something I'm just trying to make us understand that sometimes we need to see things from God's perspective. It's not easy. Me that I'm even sitting here talking, it's not easy. There has been times where I've cried. I'll be like, God, like what the hell? God, what the hell? Like, what do I have to do to make you know that I need you? Like, I've done everything. I've prayed, I've fasted. And then again, it brings me to this point that the fact that you're fasting about something does not mean that it's going to happen. Like, we are not robots. So if there's how Christianity works, or when you ask, you get, what's the whole point of the long suffering, the patience, the love, and all that? We need to cultivate the fruits of the Spirit. Do you understand? So that's why I really love this movie so much, The Wait. It didn't have a happy ending for a lot of people that, at the end of the movie, those who were expecting children all had children. No, it was as realistic as it can be. At the end of the day, God's will for our life is what's most important. And I'm so glad. And the people who acted in this movie also, I think they did their work well. What's her name? I don't want to butcher her name. I don't remember, but her name is you guys know her. She has a similar life story. Like, her true life story is similar to this. If you are in the movie industry, like if you follow her, you know that she's been married for so many years and she's not been able to have her own children. And I think that there was nobody best fit to play this role better than her. She was the doctor in it. She was called Dr. Nara. She sort of created an AA class. Now, an AA class is where people who have the same problem come together to just talk about it. Sometimes you just need to hear other people's stories to make you feel better and know that you are not alone in this ride. So yeah, I like that she was the lead character inside. So there were actors like Deyemi. I also like the fact that they portrayed this time around that men also, like when you're married to your husband and you lose a baby, yes, it's painful as a mother because you are the one whose body is going through the changes. It's you are the one whose body is like carrying that child, losing it and all that. But I think that for so long we always forget about the men and what this also can do to their psyche as human beings. And for a very long time I didn't think about the men in that light, like, oh, I believe the men, all you do is to have sex and then you give us your sperm and they give birth, whether the child comes out. So yes, it will pain you as a father that you lost the baby, but not as much as the woman. But this movie made me realize that men also go through it, because the minute you tell your husband that you are pregnant, he's also like in his head psychologically preparing to be a father. Do you understand? Like doing everything he can, preparing everything, his mental space and everything. So now imagine you lose that child. Yes, as much as the woman, it's your body and everything, you go through it. And I'm not trying to downplay women, the role of women in this, but men also go through it. And I just like the fact that this movie cast a light on it, because for the longest time, like I said, men have always been sidelined. It's now recently with education and social media that people are beginning to see that, oh, men also go through these mental issues. And I think this is worth talking about. This actually started a conversation for me in my head that, wow, men also are human beings. They are not like, for a very long time society will say, oh, you are the man, you need to be strong for your wife. And while that is good, you need to be strong for your wife, but we also need to cut men some slack and give them a break and be like, you know what, that child is mine as much as it's yours. Or how do they say it? It's yours as much as it's mine. So I also lost something. And yes, this movie did justice to it. Deyemi killed this role. He was a very, 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 very supportive husband. There were other people in it like Juliana Ola, I don't remember his surname, but like there were other people inside. What's the name? Ini, not Eni, the other Ini. Like, I think they all did amazing. They did great in this movie. So yeah, I would highly, highly recommend this movie to anybody. In fact, you don't have to be going through shit before you can watch this movie to relate to it. I just feel like you need to watch it, especially if you are going through some very tough, difficult times in your life. Like, you need love, you need God to talk to you. You feel like nobody is on your side, and you feel like your back is against the wall. Nobody can hear you, nobody can see you. This is such a good movie to watch. So I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I'm not even going to say 9.5, a 10 out of 10 from the acting, the direction, the production, the lighting, the script. Everything was just perfect. It's not a movie that, like, it's a very emotional movie, but that's what it's supposed to be, because people going through problems is supposed to get you emotional. So yeah, I really love that the whole production of this movie killed everything and they finished work. Just like I finished work here right now. So you guys, thank you so much for watching my movie review, first movie review of 2023. So what did you guys think? Is this something, have I convinced you to watch this movie? Please make sure you watch it and tell me what you also think. Okay guys, I'll see you in my next video.